Hello chess lovers, let's have a look at a game played by a French grandmaster Laurent, Fressinet and Magnus Carlsen. This was a Blitz game and was played in 2014. Fressinet started with e4, knight f6, e5. The most popular move in this position is knight d5. This is the Alekhine defense. But here Carlsen went for knight g8. This is the Brooklyn variation. Not so popular variation because this gives white a great advantage. By the way, Fressinet is quite a strong grandmaster. His rating at that time was 27-17, and it seems like Carlsen is just giving odds. By the way, 2 years later in 2016 against the same opponent, Carlsen played in a similar way. After d4, knight c6, knight f3, knight f6, d5, he went for knight b8, and what is more interesting, he also won that game. So we see this knight g8 move, and after which both players couldn't keep their smile. White played d4, d6, knight f3, c6, h3. This h3 as if prevents bishop g4 move. But a better move is bishop c4, and of course bishop g4 is not possible because of bishop f7 threat. Anyways, we see h3, bishop f5, bishop d3, exchanging the bishops, d takes e5, knight takes e5, knight d7, bishop f4, knight f6, knight c3. A better move instead of playing knight c3 is queen b3. You can't take on e5 because this is winning for white. Knight d5, queen b7, and if you take on f4 then queen c6, and this is crushing for white. After queen b3 the best move for black is knight d5, but even after knight c3, f6, knight d3, white has an advantage. We see, let's go back, knight c3 move, knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, e6, castling queenside, bishop e7, king b1, castling, queen g3, knight h5, queen f3. White has a slight advantage, but Carlsen's position looks quite good. Knight d7, knight e4, queen a5, queen g3. It would have been better for white to keep this bishop on e5 by playing, for example, bishop f4 or bishop d6, exchanging with the black colored bishop. But after queen g3, Carlsen took on e5, and already this is equal. Bishop takes d6, rook takes d6, rook takes d6, e takes d6, rook d8, rook d1, rook d7. It may seem that this passed pawn on d6 is very strong, but in reality it turns out that this is very vulnerable. b3, h6, queen f4, queen c5, g3, f6, rook d3, king f7. Carlsen has a simple idea: to approach with the king to e6 square and take on d6. Queen d2, now comes e5, and here came a bad move, rook c3. The thing is that rook c3 immediately loses the pawn on d6. f4 is better. If e4, then rook d4, f5, king b2. But after rook c3, of course black can't take on d6 with a queen because rook d3, and black is losing its rook on d7. So Carlsen first played queen b4, and after king b2 he just took on d6 with his rook. Queen e2, queen d4, queen h5 check, king f8, queen f5, b5, a3, king g8, b4, king f7, queen c8, h5, queen f5, queen g4. Carlsen has an advantage, and in a very calm way he realizes his advantage. Already this rook ending is winning for black. c3, c5, king c2, c4, rook e4, f5, rook e3, king e6, king c1, and now comes the rook on d3, king c2, rook takes e3, f takes e3, king d5, king d2, king e4, king e2, and g6. White is in Zugzwang now. Whatever you play with your king, black king just penetrates and takes all the pawns. And in this position, Fressinet resigned. Your comments please, and thanks for watching. Good luck.